The smell of garlic and butter filled my kitchen as I stirred pasta sauce, lost in the rhythm of my evening routine. The world outside was dark, the city humming beyond my apartment walls. It was a normal night until it wasn't. My phone buzzed from the counter, the sharp vibration cutting through the quiet. I glanced over, wiping my hands on my sweater before picking it up. Aunt Debbie. She had sent me a video. I tapped it, expecting something harmless, an old family clip, maybe a throwback to a Christmas years ago. But the moment I pressed play, my stomach tightened. Olivia should be grateful. She'd be nothing without us. The spoon in my hand stilled. The video was shaky, like someone had accidentally hit record, but the voices were painfully clear. A pathetic failure, my father scoffed. At least she's good for something. Paying our bills. A chorus of laughter followed. I gripped the phone tighter. The sauce bubbled on the stove, but I couldn't hear anything beyond the blood rushing in my ears. If Olivia ever stops sending money, my aunt added, her tone casual, amused. We'll just guilt her into it. She's too soft to say no. My name, my family, their voices, so familiar, voices I had trusted. I had spent years sacrificing for them. Paying my dad's rent after his temporary financial struggles became permanent. Covering my brother's tuition, even though he never even finished school. Fronting my mom's emergencies that always, somehow, lined up perfectly with my paycheck. I had done it all without hesitation, because that's what family is supposed to do. But now, I saw it for what it was: manipulation, dependence, lies. And the worst part? They were right about one thing. I had been too soft to say no. The video vanished. This message has been unsent. I stared at my screen, my breath slow and controlled. Debbie must have realized her mistake. She must have panicked, scrambling to delete it before I saw it. Too late. I should have called her, should have confronted them all, should have demanded answers. But I didn't. Instead, I set my phone down, turned off the stove, and sat in the quiet. They thought they had gotten away with it. They had no idea what was coming. The next morning, sunlight filtered through my curtains, casting a golden glow over my apartment. The coffee machine hummed, filling the air with the rich scent of espresso. Everything looked the same, felt the same, but I wasn't the same. I scrolled through my phone absently, half expecting some sort of follow-up from Aunt Debbie. Maybe an awkward excuse, a pathetic attempt at damage control. But there was nothing. Instead, a new message popped up. Mom, morning, sweetie, just checking in. Hope you're doing well. I stared at it, my fingers hovering over the screen. It was too normal, too casual. My mom never messaged me just to check in. There was always a reason, always something she needed. And, sure enough, a second message came in before I even had time to type a response. Mom, oh, by the way, rent is due soon. Can you send it by Friday? There it was, the same cycle, the same expectation. But this time, I wasn't going to play along. I started typing my usual response, something automatic, like, of course, or no problem. Maybe even an unnecessary apology for not sending it sooner. Then I stopped, deleted everything, and typed something I had never dared to say before. Me, I can't this month. I hesitated for only a second before pressing send. The moment my finger left the screen, my heart pounded against my ribs. 1 minute passed, 2, then buzz. Mom, what do you mean you can't? I could feel the frustration bleeding through the screen. I had never said no before. I took a sip of my coffee, letting her sit in that confusion for a while. Then more messages flooded in. Mom, this is serious. We're counting on you. You know we don't have another option right now. Aunt Debbie, hey sweetie, your mom is freaking out. Is everything okay? I almost laughed. Is everything okay? Sure, everything was fine, except for the fact that I had spent years paying their bills, covering their debts, sacrificing my own financial security to keep them afloat. And the one time I even hinted at stopping, they panicked. Not once did they ask if I was okay. I typed out a response, keeping it short and cold. Me. I have unexpected expenses this month. I can't send anything. Sorry, that was it. No explanation, no apology. And then I waited. What happened next told me everything I needed to know. Silence. For the first time in years, my refusal wasn't met with instant demands, just an eerie, suffocating silence. I could almost hear my mother's jaw tightening, her mind racing for the right words to reel me back in. Then, buzz. Mom. Unexpected expenses. What could possibly be more important than your family? Ah, there it was, the guilt trip. The same tactic she had perfected over the years. But this time, I didn't reply. I let the message sit there, unanswered, like a door left unopened. Less than a minute later, another text. Mom, you know your brother can't cover rent on his own. If he gets kicked out, that's on you. The brother card. Classic. Then another. Mom, we raised you, Olivia. We took care of you when you had nothing. Is this how you repay us? My jaw clenched, my fingers tightening around my phone. When I had nothing, they had never taken care of me. I had put myself through school, worked 3 jobs just to escape that house. And the moment I had money, they latched onto me like leeches, draining me dry. My phone buzzed again. Aunt Debbie, Olivia, sweetheart, don't do this. We're family. Your mom is just upset. You know how she gets. Just send the rent and everything will be fine. Fine. For who? I put my phone down, my heart pounding. I needed a second, a breath. I walked to the kitchen, filled a glass with water, and stared at the clock on the wall. I could feel it, something shifting inside me. For years, I had been terrified of this moment. The moment where, if I ever said no, they would turn their backs on me. They would hate me. They would cut me off. But now I know the truth. They never loved me. They loved what I could give them. And the moment I stopped, they would show me exactly who they were. Buzz. I walked back to my phone, steady hands picking it up. A new message. Dad, I don't know what's gotten into you, but this is unacceptable. You're being selfish. This family needs you. And you're acting like some entitled brat. Grow up and do the right thing. And just like that, the mask slipped. No more fake sweetness. No more pretending. Just demands. I stared at the words, my heart pounding in my ears. Another notification popped up, a voice message from Aunt Debbie. My thumb hovered over the play button. Something told me that this was going to change everything. I hesitated, my thumb hovering over the play button. Aunt Debbie never sent voice messages. If she had something to say, she usually sugar-coated it in text, passive-aggressive, with just enough fake sweetness to make me feel guilty. But this was different. Slowly, I pressed play. Her voice came through sharp and impatient. Olivia, listen. I don't know what kind of game you think you're playing, but this isn't funny. Your mother is losing her mind. Your dad is furious. And honestly, I don't blame them. I felt my stomach tighten, but I forced myself to keep listening. You have a good job, don't you? You make more than any of us. You don't even need that money. Meanwhile, your family is struggling. And what? You just wake up one day and decide you don't care anymore. A bitter laugh escaped my lips. You owe them, Olivia, after everything they've done for you, after all the sacrifices they made. They gave you life, and now you're just going to walk away? Pretend they don't exist? What kind of daughter does that? She exhaled sharply, and for a second, I thought she was done. But then her tone darkened, colder now. If you really want to be that kind of person, fine. But don't expect them to forgive you. Don't expect to come crawling back when you realize how much you need them. Because once you cross this line, there's no coming back. The message ended. Silence. I let the words settle, my thumb hovering over the replay button. My ears rang. My hands felt numb. I should have been scared. I should have panicked. I should have been scrambling to fix this, to apologize. But instead, I felt calm. More than that, I felt free. Because she had just confirmed everything I already knew. They didn't love me. They didn't respect me. I was just a bank account to them, a walking, breathing ATM. And the moment I stopped handing out money, I was nothing. And if that was the case, then maybe it was time to be nothing to them. Buzz, another message. Mom, last chance, Olivia, send the rent. I stared at the message for a long time. Then, without hesitation, I blocked her. I blocked my dad. I blocked Aunt Debbie. And just like that, for the first time in years, I was free. Or so I thought, because the next morning, there was a knock at my door. The knock at my door sent a chill down my spine. It was early, too early. The kind of early where the world was still waking up, the sun barely peeking over the horizon. For a fleeting moment, I told myself it could be anyone, a package delivery, a neighbor, a mistake. Then came another knock, louder, more insistent. I already knew. I took a slow breath, steeling myself as I walked to the door. My fingers hesitated on the handle, my heart pounding in my chest, and then I opened it. There he was, Jason, my brother. His face was twisted in something between anger and desperation. His clothes were wrinkled like he hadn't slept, and his eyes, God, his eyes were bloodshot, wild. "Are you serious, Olivia?" His voice was sharp, like a blade pressed against my skin. "What the hell is wrong with you?" I blinked, keeping my expression neutral. "Good morning to you too," he scoffed, running a hand through his already messy hair. "Don't do that. Don't act like this isn't a big deal. You blocked everyone. Mom is freaking out. Dad's losing his mind. You're just, what, cutting us off? Pretending we don't exist?" I crossed my arms, leaning against the door frame. "I don't know, Jason. Maybe I just got tired of being treated like a piggy bank." His jaw clenched. "Oh my God, not this again." I let out a bitter laugh. "Not this again. Jason, I've been paying your rent for years. I've covered your bills, your food, even your stupid gym membership. And the one time I say no, the one time I set a boundary, Mom calls me a selfish brat. Dad says I'm unacceptable, and you show up at my door like I committed a crime." His lips parted like he was going to argue, but no words came out. So I kept going. "And don't even try to pretend you care about me. I saw the video." His face went pale. For the first time, real fear flashed in his eyes. "What video?" I smiled. But it wasn't a kind one. "You know exactly what video." Jason shifted on his feet, glancing away. His hands balled into fists. "Look, it wasn't serious, okay? We were just joking. You're being dramatic." My voice was quiet now, but sharp as glass. "Joking." I took a step forward. "You all sat around laughing, calling me a pathetic failure, saying I should be grateful for the chance to pay your bills. Do you know what that feels like, Jason? To hear your own family talk about you like that?" He exhaled harshly, rubbing his face. "Olivia, come on." "No." I cut him off. "You come on. You want money? Get a job. You want someone to take care of you? Find someone else. Because I'm done." Silence. He just stood there, staring at me. And for a second, I saw something flicker across his face. Something raw. But it was gone just as quickly. His expression hardened, his mouth twisting into something ugly. "Fine," he spat. "You want to be a selfish bitch? Go ahead. But don't come crawling back when you realize you have no one left." And with that, he turned and walked away. I stood there, watching him go, my chest tight, but my spine straight. Because he was wrong. I did have someone left. I had myself. But just as I closed the door, letting out a shaky breath, my phone buzzed. I glanced down. A familiar name flashed across the screen. Mom. She was calling, but I wasn't going to pick up, not this time. The phone vibrates violently on the table. The familiar name flashing on the screen. Mom. Any other time, the moment I saw that name, I would have picked it up immediately. Because I knew a call from her was never meaningless. It always meant a crisis, a request, a problem that, somehow, always ended up being my responsibility. But not this time. I stared at the glowing screen, each passing second stretching into eternity. Then I flipped the phone face down, set it on the table, and turned away. For the first time in my life, I let it ring. No explanation, no apology, no hesitation. When the ringing finally stopped, silence consumed me. It was heavier than I expected. My entire life had revolved around their needs, their struggles, their expectations. And now, nothing. I should have felt scared, but I didn't. It felt like freedom. I leaned against the kitchen counter, eyes fixed on the ticking clock, watching the seconds pass like they were marking the end of something. I wasn't their safety net anymore. I wasn't their anything anymore. Ding. A message. I closed my eyes, inhaling deeply. I already knew who it was before I even looked. Dad. We raised you, Olivia. Don't think you can just walk away after everything we've done for you. You're making a huge mistake. Come back. We'll talk. We'll fix this. I could almost hear his voice in my head. Low, authoritative, but laced with that familiar manipulation. A few days ago, I might have hesitated. I might have believed there was still something to salvage. But now I saw everything clearly. They didn't want to fix anything. They just wanted their control back. They just wanted their obedient little puppet, someone who paid in silence, never questioned, never pushed back. I sat down at my desk, hands trembling slightly as they hovered over the keyboard, but not from fear. Because I knew I was about to end it all. I wasn't going to argue. I wasn't going to explain. I was going to burn the bridge and never look back. Slowly, deliberately, I typed out my final message. I don't owe you a cent, a second, or a shred of loyalty anymore. Not anymore. You have no right to control me. No right to demand anything from me. No right to use me as your personal ATM. I have endured enough. I have sacrificed enough, and now I am reclaiming what's mine, my freedom, my life, and my self-respect. Don't text, don't call, don't try to reach me. I am no longer your puppet. Find someone else to leech off of, because to me, family is not a chain, and I will never look back. I stared at the message for a long moment, making sure every single word was exactly what I wanted to say. Then, without a second of hesitation, I hit send. And right after that, I blocked all of them. I wiped out every conversation, erasing them like they had never existed. And just like that, the chapter closed. No yelling, no tears, no negotiation, no one begging, no one mourning. Just a silent, razor-sharp decision that severed every last tie. And the best part, I didn't feel guilty. I just felt free. Family should be built on love and respect, not obligation and manipulation. Saying no isn't selfish. It's setting boundaries. You don't owe anyone your peace, especially those who only see you as a provider. Walking away from toxicity doesn't mean losing family. It means reclaiming yourself. Olivia did it. How about you? Share your story with us. If you enjoy deep, emotional, and meaningful stories like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new update. Your support is the motivation that drives us to keep bringing you powerful stories. Once again, thank you for being here, and see you in the next story.